When I was in primary school, computers had become popular in our city yet, let alone mobile phones. So unlike today's children who hold mobile phones, or sit in front of computers to play various games, I had no such experiences in my early years. Even the ways to acquire extracurricular knowledge that interested me could only be achieved through books or movies. My interest was in military affairs. Whenever there were battle scenes or weapon explanations on TV, I couldn't take my eyes off them. When encountering military magazines or materials, I would always find a way to get them, or at least flip through a few pages. Information was scarce for me as a child. My personal financial situation was no better. My parents hardly ever gave me pocket money. I ate 3 meals a day at home, so I didn't have the chance to save breakfast money, to buy what I wanted like some other children. Come to think of it, only when I got good grades in the 2 major exams each semester would my parents symbolically reward me with a little money. However, the amount was minimal, and most of it was stored in an old, locked wooden box under my bed. As for the annual lucky money, no, don't even mention it. It was never much, and my parents always deposited it in the bank, in the name of saving for the future. Thus the money I could spend each year was only about 10 to 20 yuan. With such a small sum, I chose small gadgets that could be played with for a long time to satisfy my interest. Toy soldiers. If I bought the smallest toy soldiers, although their details were hard to see clearly, due to their tiny size and shoddy craftsmanship, the advantage was the price. For only 1 yuan, I could get a pack of over 30 half-inch tall private armed forces, along with a national flag that could be seen clearly through the plastic bag. Almost all the flags of the main Allied and Axis powers in World War II were included, but some were hard to find or even seemed non-existent, such as the Chinese flag. Maybe adults thought it inappropriate to make our national flag into a toy that children might mishandle. I never knew the real reason. The equipment of the toy soldiers was mostly from World War II. Soldiers in the same pack should have belonged to the same style series, and there was a certain correspondence between their style and the accompanying national flag. But there were exceptions. They might fool other children, but for me, a little military enthusiast, I could always spot the flaws. Once I spent a fortune of 6 yuan to buy a set of 6 packs of toy soldiers, with flags of the UK, Germany, the US, Italy, France, and Japan. Among them only the US German and Japanese sets were relatively historically accurate. The soldiers with the American flag held basically all US military equipment: M1 Garand semi-automatic rifles, M1 carbine Springfield sniper rifles, bazooka rocket launchers, grease guns, submachine guns, etc. But there were also confusing cases. For example, the famous Barlight machine gun and Thompson submachine gun were absent, while there was a soldier seemingly holding a British Bren light machine gun, strolling forward with the gun held horizontally in a leisurely manner. This annoyed me, because other soldiers were either aiming, crawling, charging in a crouch, or waving commands. He arrived on the battlefield with a weapon that seemed not widely used by the US military in World War II, looking like he was on vacation, utterly uncoordinated. Next came the army carrying the German flag. This group was impeccable: MP-38 submachine guns, Mauser rifles, MG-34 light machine guns, stick grenades, and round gas mask canisters on their backs, all iconic equipment of the Third Reich. When I first got this tiny unit, I looked for the STG-44 assault rifle but couldn't find it. Then I realized it was only produced towards the end of World War II. So maybe this was a unit from the early war, and I felt reassured. The Japanese set was also relatively realistic. Here you could see Type 38 rifles with bayonets, grenade launchers that were extremely effective in the hands of skilled soldiers in the early war. The peculiar Type 11 skew-handle machine gun, curved samurai swords, and that was it for equipment. To make up for the lack of variety, the soldiers had various postures even there. Charging stance was upright with bayonets, forming a sharp contrast with the crouched, tactical movements of the U.S. soldiers in this regard. It was very lifelike, the Type 100 submachine gun was missing, but that was understandable since it was rare. The other three countries were more perfunctory. The British flag soldiers looked exactly like the American ones. Both the French and Italian sets used the Japanese mold. Even ordinary children could sense something was off, but they couldn't tell who was imitating whom.